Promoted as the next Tiger Woods, but for women's golf, many had high hopes for Michelle Wie to make good on her early promise as a young prodigy. While she did eventually become a major champion, many still believe that she is yet to live up to the hype. Greetings y'all, it's your Anak Peter Mata, and admittedly, I don't watch much of women's golf and the LPGA Tour, but I am a big fan of Michelle Wie, and like many of you, I've had great interest in her career from the very beginning. Anyone that watches her notices the God-given talent and star quality that she has. She has a nice, smooth, and powerful swing, a vibrant personality, and is a beautiful woman. Anywho, today we're going to look at what happened to Michelle Wie. Born in Honolulu, Hawaii, to Korean immigrants Bong Wook and Bo Wie, Michelle picked up golf at the very early age of 4. Her dad was a good avid golfer, and her mother was a women's amateur champion in 1985. So clearly, she had golfing in her blood, and it quickly began to show. At 10 years old, she became the youngest player at the time to ever qualify for the U.S. Women's Amateur Public Links Championship. At 11, she won both the Hawaii State Women's Stroke Play Championship and the Jenny K. Wilson Women's Invitational, which is the oldest and most prestigious women's amateur tournament in Hawaii. After blitzing the field by 13 shots in the 2002 Hawaii State Open Women's Division, Michelle began setting her sights on tougher competition. At the age of 12, she became the youngest player at the time to qualify for an LPGA event. While she missed the cut at that event, she got another chance at the 2003 Kraft Nabisco Championship, where not only she became the youngest player to make an LPGA cut, but also she played in the final group on that Sunday. She didn't win that event, but later that year she did pick up a big win at the Women's Amateur Public Links Championship. With the win, she became the youngest person ever, male or female, to win a USGA adult event. Obviously with these results, Michelle garnered a lot of attention, so much so that her sights were now set on even tougher competition in the PGA Tour. In 2004, at the age of 14, I say again 14, Michelle was given a sponsor's exemption to the Sony Open in Hawaii. This was only the 4th time a woman played in a PGA Tour event, and yes, Michelle was the youngest of the ladies to play in a PGA Tour event. Incredible enough, Michelle backed up her sponsor invite with great play. Her second round score of 68 was the lowest ever by a woman in a PGA Tour event. And while she did miss the cut by a mere 1 stroke, her solid showing proved that at just 14 years old, she truly could play with anyone in the world. After the tournament, the world now knew who Michelle Wie was, and she continued to play well and make a name for herself. She again played in the LPGA Kraft Nabisco Championship and finished 4th that year. And as a part of the victorious US team in the Curtis Cup, she became the youngest woman ever to play in that event. In 2005, Michelle got more invites to pro events, 5 LPGA Tour events and 2 PGA Tour events. She was consistent in the LPGA Tour events, even getting a couple runner-ups. However, in the PGA Tour events, she didn't fare as well, as she missed both cuts in the tournaments that she entered. The summer of that year, she qualified for the U.S. Amateur Public Links Championship. This made her the first female to ever qualify for a USGA National Men's Tournament. And again, she had a great showing, as she made it all the way through to the quarterfinals of that event before losing to the eventual champion, Clay Ogden. A week before her 16th birthday, Michelle finally announced that she was turning professional. She immediately signed sponsor contracts with Nike and Sony, which were reportedly worth more than $10 million per year. So obviously, people were buying into the hype, and sponsors were putting money where their mouth was. Unfortunately, this great monumental moment for Michelle proved to be one of the few bright spots in her first few years as pro. From late 2005 through 2008, Michelle went through inconsistencies with her golf game, injuries, and some little controversies here and there. So first off, because the LPGA Tour has a membership age requirement of 18, and Michelle was 16 at the time, she could not become an LPGA member. Now the tour had granted exemptions to ladies who were under 18 before, but Michelle chose not to request an exemption, meaning her schedule was limited to sponsor invites until she turned 18. With all that being said, while she did get disqualified in her very first event as a pro for signing an incorrect scorecard, her opening months as a pro in 2006 were fairly successful. She didn't win, but she had several high finishes in the LPGA events, and even became the second woman to make a cut on the Men's Asian Tour. It was really in the time between late 2006 and 2008 where Michelle fell into a slump. During that period, she had several disappointing finishes in both men and women's events. She remained winless against the women, and she couldn't make a cut against the men. At one point, she even went 14 straight competitive rounds without breaking par. Granted, during this time she did take a 4-month hiatus due to injuries to both of her wrists, but when she did play though, it still wasn't very good. And at one point, she was 14 over through 16 holes in an LPGA Tour event and withdrew citing an injury. This was very controversial because the LPGA has a rule of 88, which states that a non-LPGA member shooting 88 or higher is forced to withdraw and is banned from LPGA co-sponsored events for the rest of the year. She was also again disqualified for walking outside of the official tournament area before returning to sign her scorecard. And while all this was disappointing, the ultimate controversy which bothered many people was that she was still ranked as one of the highest paid in golf, and was still looking for exemptions into men events. Many argued that she shouldn't get any more exemptions because it took away opportunities from players that were more deserving. And many also criticized Michelle's unique decision to enroll into Stanford, despite not being able to play golf there. They argued that it would take away focus from her career. To her credit though, Michelle stood by her decisions. She didn't just curl up in a ball and disappear. She actually dug deep, and in late 2008, she earned her way through LPGA Q School. This allowed her to secure a tour card and play a full schedule for 2009. With the opportunities now, it appeared maybe Michelle would be able to find her footing. And that proved to be true in 2009, as she picked up her first LPGA Tour win at the Lorena Ochoa Invitational. This, along with her solid play, earned her a spot on Team USA for the Solheim Cup, where she went 3-0-1 and helped the team win the Solheim Cup. In 2010, she backed up her solid play with another good season, where she picked up her second career win at the CN Canadian Women's Open. Overall, it seemed Michelle had finally found some consistency in her game and life. Unfortunately though, Michelle's game again fell into a bit of a slump for the following 3 seasons. In those seasons, she retained her card and had some nice finishes, and even had a couple decent showings in the Solheim Cup. But she didn't have any wins. Even in 2012, after she graduated Stanford and focused solely on her golf game, she really couldn't find any rhythm. With the length that she hits it, she wasn't taking advantage of all her opportunities, and it was clear what the main problem was: her putting. She was clearly suffering from some form of the yips or a mental block, which was preventing her from living up to her talent. To her credit though, in 2014, she finally figured something out. Out of pure desperation, she went to her now famous tabletop putting style. While interesting looking, she quickly made it work as she picked up her 3rd win at the LPGA Lot Championship, and then set her sights on an even bigger prize. In that year's US Women's Open, Michelle finally lived up to all the hype and build-up over her career, and she became a major champion. Her clutch birdie on the 71st hole gave her a 2-shot cushion going to the last, and she was able to put it away with the closing par. With this major triumph, it seemed maybe Michelle had reached her prime, and that she could continue to build off of it. However, over the next 6 seasons after, she has only captured 1 win, and has gone through more peaks and valleys. From 2015 to 2017, she had mediocre seasons, where she didn't win and was hampered by minor injuries. In 2018, she fared better, as she was able to capture her 5th LPGA Tour win at the HSBC Women's World Championship. Sadly though, she suffered a wrist injury later that year that would force her to get surgery. This injury continued to hinder her in 2019 as well, as she only teed it up in 5 events. In that year's KPMG Women's PGA Championship, She shot 84-82 to miss the cut. In a tearful interview, she stated that she didn't know how much more she had left in her. Shortly thereafter, she announced that she would sit out the rest of the year and wouldn't return until she's healthy. And this has been the last time we've seen Michelle Wie in tour action. Which brings us to the big question. What happened to Michelle Wie? Well, first, while she has had her struggles on the course and with injuries, off the course recently, she has found happiness. She got married in 2019 to Johnny West, who is an executive for the Golden State Warriors and the son of NBA legend Jerry West. Also, she and Johnny have had their first child together in 2020, daughter Makina. And while Michelle has previously stated that she wouldn't want to play golf anymore when she became a mother, the recent birth of her daughter has actually reinvigorated her interest in playing. And now Michelle is very much planning to play again once she's fully healthy and the COVID-19 situation is under control. For the time being, she has signed on to do some commentating for the Golf Channel and CBS, which will include Masters coverage in November. So currently, she seems actually to be in a good place and at peace with where she's at in life, which is good to see. In terms of digging deeper and why she didn't break out and win even more over her career, it's been a mix of physical and mental. As I've mentioned already, physically, she's been dealing with injuries big and small throughout her career. While I get some might say she should toughen it out a little bit more, it's ultimately up to Michelle to determine if she's healthy enough to play or not. So for that, I think it's fair to give her a pass on the physical part of it. To me, the bigger thing anyway has been the mental side of it. Many people point out a couple things. First, what's already been mentioned is the fact that she played in a good number of men tournaments. Some say she should have concentrated more on beating her own competition first. And I tend to agree with that. While I admire Michelle's ambition to play in the men tournaments, and even to one day try to make the Masters, I think it was a mistake to play in so many of them so early on in her career. Don't get me wrong, it was cool for her to play in one or two of them, but in my opinion, playing and failing in so many of the events really did a number on her confidence. As a result, it carried over into her mindset in the women events, and over time, she began to put too much pressure on herself. And you know what? From personal experience, when that happens, it's a big reason why the yips and mental blocks come up. Another thing people mention is how Michelle has a bad habit of losing focus and that she doesn't work hard enough. And to me, I believe that's an unfair criticism about her work ethic, because I think she does work hard enough, and it's really more of a matter of confidence and the mental side of things. Sure, does Michelle like to focus on other things outside golf? Yes. But from what I've seen, when it's time to put in the work for golf, I think she does just that. The thing is, Michelle has spent her whole life playing and in the spotlight, and not everyone can handle that. She's even mentioned that she's gotten burned out on several occasions. She's also admitted that she likes trying and failing at different things. So I don't think anyone can really blame her for trying to find fulfillment outside of golf. We can all agree that yes, with her talent to this point, she has underachieved. But ultimately, her case is a classic case of too much too soon. Sometimes it's okay to be patient and take the process step by step. At the end of the day, I'm happy that Michelle did get a major championship and also graduated from Stanford. Those still stand for something, and no one can ever take those away from her. I'm also happy that she found happiness in her personal life with her husband and daughter. When she does get healthy and chooses to play competitively again, I think she'll do well because of the perspective change that a marriage and parenthood brings mentally. To me, Michelle will always have the talent, and if she truly is at peace like I think she is, then that's the recipe for her success. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. What do you think happened to Michelle Wie? Also, on a side note before I end this video, I just want to give a big thanks to those who subscribed in the past weeks. We've obviously noticed a big jump during this time, and we want to just tell you guys that's really awesome. We're getting a lot of views, likes, and comments, and we're loving the support and the feedback, both good and bad. And trust me y'all, we've got more coming through the pipeline. A lot of it is based on y'all's suggestions, so keep them coming. I also encourage y'all to watch our other content on the channel. We keep it honest and fun, so if you're into that, give it a look. And as always, I appreciate y'all for watching this video. Please like, subscribe, and comment below. Your words mean something to me.